Good evening, everyone. This is our opportunity to present our budget, and this is for the 2022-23 school year. The timeline for the budget as far as adoption is on your screen. Tonight is the first night for a public presentation and a tentative adoption of the budget, and what that means is that the total budget amount after approval this evening cannot change. There can be change of items within the budget, allocations within the budget, for example, moving funds from one line to another, but the overall total budget amount cannot be changed after this evening. We will also then present twice more on April 14th and then on April 28th, and the April 28th is the final public hearing and budget adoption. These are timelines that are mandated to us by the state of New Jersey. We always start our budget presentation with a reminder of our mission statement and our strategic planning goals, because just as when you build your household budget and you think of what matters most within your family and your facility, in a school district we look at what matters most for our students and our school community. And so we have our mission statement there, and then our 3 strategic planning goals. The short version of these, since we've been through these many times, our first goal really speaks to students' academic experiences, looking to build innovative and rigorous school experiences for our students pre-K through 12. Our second goal speaks to enriching students' social and emotional learning opportunities, particularly with student advocacy and student leadership. And our third goal speaks to how we support our community of adult learners. Each year, our Finance Committee, as an outreach of our Board of Education, really provides specific directive as to what needs to be included or what needs to be considered as each year's school budget is crafted. And so as we were working within the business department, within personnel, within curriculum to craft this year's budget, the 3 goals that were presented to us from the board included managing and controlling expenses with the goal of achieving an end-of-year surplus of 2.5% of the total operating budget, to provide adequate funding that does not diminish to the greatest degree possible current services to students, and that we ensure a tax levy of 2% exclusive of spending growth adjustments and bank cap. And we have, board members, been able to accommodate all 3 of those directives. We last year started including student enrollment, because we know while COVID has slowed down some of the development, not only in Parsippany but across Morris County and across New Jersey, we do know from zoning proposals and from projects that have been approved at the township and state level that there will be new housing coming into Parsippany. What I'm showing you here is the yellow line of right now in this year what our actual enrollment is, and this year it is 7,009 students. We're down a bit. One of the things that typically occurs in Parsippany is we see an influx of students often in December, January, and February. But that didn't happen last year because of the pandemic, and it didn't happen this year. I expect that that will kick back up again as we move into the next school year. And then what you see in the lines after 2021-22, the orange line is what our demographer projected, what the student enrollment would be each year. And then the yellow line, which is higher than that, is also what the demographer projected when he adjusted for housing growth. So we're down a bit. We'll see as we move into the next year into whether we catch up, or which would be something if we were to catch up. That's a big, steep climb, or to see where our numbers continue to go. As far as our state aid for this coming year, we were a district that received additional state aid in the amount of just over $1.4 million. That funding is being applied to 2 strings teacher positions as we grow our program into the middle school. We will also be adding a specific supervisor for visual and performing arts. We have a marvelous department of art teachers and chorus teachers and band teachers, and they have always been supervised by either the supervisor of health and PE, or the supervisor of humanities, or sometimes the supervisor of English. And we feel in order to continue to grow that program and to really honor the work that those teachers are doing, to have a supervisor specific to that expertise, that in Parsippany it's really time for that. We will also be including additional special education teachers, including 2 preschool teachers. Those will, I believe, be included at Eastlake School. And then additional resource room teachers and a multiple disabled teacher. Additional special education staff for occupational therapy, an LDTC, and a speech teacher. And then finally, secondary wireless and technology upgrades, particularly at both of our high schools. And then finally, before I hand this over to Mrs. Tedesco, additionally, the budget is providing for, if we look at some of the highlights, an expansion of instruction in the areas of business and music and humanities and STEM. There are a number of not only new courses being offered there, but in some instances new teacher hires as well to support student interest. We have a new geometry course that will be starting for our grade 8 students, which is very exciting. This is really the culmination of work that began in our elementary school nearly 4 years ago, where we introduced a special accelerated math class for grade 5 students who were specially identified for that, which meant that as those grade 5 students moved into 6th grade, we needed to have an accelerated grade 6 program and then grade 7, and now this culminates with those students being ready for geometry in 8th grade. Up until now, we have accomplished geometry for a small group of 8th graders by either, when we were not in a rotating block schedule, having those students come to the high school for instruction, or by having them take the course remotely through our virtual high school partnership. As we move into September, there will be a dedicated teacher for those students and a specific course at each of the middle schools, which I think is really exciting for us. We have new elementary social studies textbooks and resources, and then also new middle school textbooks, and that's really to address some scope and sequence changes and additional civics content that was mandated for grades 5 through 8. All of our athletic and extracurricular programs are supported in the budget with no reductions in personnel or activity. We will begin phase 1 of a 2-year project for phone system upgrade for offices and classrooms. And then finally, additional materials to support special education programs. As we look to see how our enrollment increases or not over the next several years, I do know that one of the things we've spoken with board members before about is definitely an increase in our preschool programs, not only with the number of students who are being identified at age 3 to enter into a preschool program, but then also a very sincere interest in our general education preschool students for their families to enroll them in our programs as well. And we have many students on a waiting list for that. So it will be not only important to have materials to support preschool and other special education, but very interesting to see what those numbers look like over the next several years. As we move to capital projects and equipment, I'm going to hand this off to Mrs. Tedesco because she covers this with our Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Hi, everyone. Okay, on this slide is our capital projects and equipment. And they include window replacements throughout the district, including Intervale and Troy Hills School and gymnasiums. It also includes radio systems as well as a wireless upgrade at Parsippany High School and Parsippany Hills. CEC, which is this building here, a partial roof replacement, classroom addition startup costs, district-wide flooring, doors, and paving replacements, and there is various equipment replacements, including equipment to go to our maintenance department, as well as to the wellness rooms at all 4 of the secondary schools. Okay, so the next slide is our revenue sources. This is where you can see what funds the budget. The lion's share is the local taxes. which is approximately 84% of where we get our funding from. Then the next is federal and state aid, which is approximately 6%. Federal and state grants are the third largest funding source at 4%. And as you can see, the numbers go down, and they are just the remaining percentages for the budget. The next budget slide is our budget appropriation. Here's how the revenues that we just talked about are allocated. 43% go to instruction, 17% go to employee benefits, 11% go to support services such as media, child study team, guidance, curriculum supervisors. 8% goes to maintain our school buildings. 6% is the administration, which includes our technology department. 5% is for student transportation. 4% is allocated for capital improvements to our buildings. The last 6% of the funding is for things like health services and debt service. Next slide. On the next slide, we're going to go through how the taxes are calculated, the property taxes, the taxes that we get here in the district. The total tax levy we are looking at for the 2022 calendar year is $149,686,013. On a home valued at $321,000, you can expect to pay $6,595.95 in taxes, which is an approximate increase of $300.15. Last slide. So that concludes our presentation tonight. Important upcoming dates are April 14th is our next Board of Education meeting, and our public hearing and budget adoption is April 28th. Thank you, everyone.